access these services inside marae, inside community halls.
I call Catherine Delahunty.
Tēnā koutou te whare nui, te whare paramata, tēnā koutou katoa. I'm pleased to take a call on vote education, although it saddens me because the education space should be a manifestation of harmony for the benefit of all our children's learning, instead of which it's now a highly contested space between those who seek to privatise and those who want quality local public education, which includes innovation, to be the priority. And that's what we've been struggling with, I guess, under vote education for the last couple of years. We need foreign charter schools like a fish needs a bicycle. We need privatisation in the same way that we need the aforementioned bicycle. We actually need to think about what public-private partnerships, which have just been announced by the Minister today, will do to the quality public education system that we're trying to strengthen. And it is very interesting to see the cost-cutting and the property speak in the Cabinet paper that I've just been trying to read, which shows that schools are going to be bundled, I love the rhetoric here, bundled together to see whether there's money to be made out of them under the name of relieving teachers and principals from managing school property. Well, if one has read any of the international literature on public-private partnerships, the contract still has to be managed by the school. They still have to deal with the private company that is making the money out of the school or not, and many of them have been left holding the baby. And that is very, very worrying when we see the master plan for privatisation that has been rolled out this afternoon in this country. Christchurch, of course, is the Trojan horse for all of this, and I was there last week, and one of the principals said to me that it takes him far more time to manage his contractor school cleaning than it does people who work for him directly. He said managing contracts is far more time consuming and difficult than actually just dealing with the people that he knows who used to come in and clean his school. And that was a minor example of his concerns about public-private partnerships about which he knew nothing, and he's from East Christchurch and is very intimately involved and supposedly involved in the brave new world that's been created and the modern learning environments. The other thing that was interesting that was said to me was a modern learning environment might be some colourful beanbags and some new classrooms, but in reality the community remains the community with the lack of resources that they need, and we as schools are still going to struggle, he said, with dealing with what is really going on with homelessness, with enormous stress, with poverty, with low wages and with families that are under stress. So at the heart of the debate, although the government will continue to deny this under vote education, is the reality of the child poverty statistics, which the Crown has admitted has been underestimated by up to more than 20,000 children, up to 45. So that is why we need to encourage our best people into teaching. And like others, we watch the space around the $350 million that's been allocated to give more money to executive principals and others, and to see how that plays out. But also, we need to acknowledge that we have to address the fundamental issues of inequality. And the Green Party has done so. The Green Party has developed a package on the hearts and hubs of communities, how schools can be better at meeting those needs, opening our doors and be dedicated communities. There's a huge and ironic difference between the idea of a public-private partnership with services managed by a manager to make sure they're efficient, and the idea in the Greens package, which is dedicated school coordinators to organise programs with communities. That could be Te Reo Māori, could be ACE, could be language class, could be social worker, could be dental help, could be parenting program, could be whatever the community wants. Not to see if it's more efficient and whether more money can be made and whether the government can cut their spending on property, but to build communities. Free after-school and holiday programs for children in 1 to 4 decile schools, a school nurse in those schools, and lunch for those decile 1 to 4 schools if they want it, based on how they want to deliver it. All of these can be done, and we've costed them for under $88 million per annum. And we've received very positive feedback from educators and communities about this package. And we think it's a far better investment than investigating privatisation of school property or paying executive principals who've got to look after 10 other schools and mentor them 2 days a week while running their own school. We think that ours is a better investment. It's the difference between shallow and deep support for schools and communities in the reality that we face. And principals of low decile schools tell me that low decile environments require a different skill set and a lot more resources. One example they gave me was school support staff. How much more this principal had taught in both decile 10 and decile 1 and said how much more is needed to be spent on school support staff in the low deciles. That's an example.
The Honourable Hiri Prata.
Mr. Chair, tēnā tātou I te whare.